On a quiet Friday morning in August 1982, the oppressive heat of Sacramento, California, had yet to fully descend upon the North Highlands. The sun was just beginning to climb, casting long shadows over the California State Automobile Association office on Wood Avenue. Inside, the usual hum of early morning preparations was conspicuously absent. This was the scene into which Cindy Anderson, a seemingly ordinary 17-year-old, would step into an extraordinary mystery. Cindy was, by all accounts, a typical American teenager on the cusp of adulthood. She lived with her parents, was a diligent student, and held a part-time job at the CSA office, a place of routine and predictability. She was scheduled to open the office this particular morning, a task she had performed many times before. But on this day, nothing was typical. When her manager arrived, the scene was unsettling. The office doors were locked, as expected, but Cindy was nowhere to be found. A deeper inspection revealed a chilling detail. There was no sign of forced entry. The security of the building appeared uncompromised. Yet Cindy was gone. The only things missing were her purse and, critically, the office keys. Initial confusion quickly gave way to a dawning sense of alarm. How could someone vanish from a locked office without a trace? The anomaly of her disappearance was immediate, baffling, and deeply unsettling. The Sacramento police arrived swiftly at the CSA office, their initial search revealing a scene that only deepened the enigma. Cindy's car, a white 1980 Chevrolet Citation, was still in the parking lot, locked. Inside the office, there was no sign of a struggle, no overturned furniture, no broken glass, nothing to suggest a forced entry or a violent confrontation. Yet, Cindy Anderson was gone. Her purse and the office keys were also missing, adding another layer to the baffling circumstances. The only personal item found was a romance novel, left open on her desk. This created the central paradox of the case: the locked door. If the office was locked from the inside, how did Cindy leave? And if she was abducted, how did the abductor gain entry without any sign of forced entry? The missing key suggested she might have locked up herself, but where did she go? Or, alternatively, was someone already inside the office with her when she arrived? Initial theories were quickly floated, each proving problematic. The idea of a voluntary runaway was largely dismissed. Cindy was a responsible teenager with no known problems at home or school, and she was just weeks away from starting college. Why would she abandon her life, her car, and her family without a word? Abduction was a strong possibility, but the how remained stubbornly unanswered. No clear suspects emerged, no leads from anyone who might have wanted to harm her. Adding to the unsettling atmosphere were strange phone calls received by the office in the days following Cindy's disappearance. While specifics are difficult to verify years later, reports suggest that these calls were unusual and unsettling, perhaps even harassing in nature, and some believe they might be connected to Cindy's vanishing. This detail, if true, would only underscore the bizarre and unexplainable nature of the events, fitting a pattern of unexplained premonitions or unsettling external factors that sometimes surround such cases. The initial investigation, rather than providing answers, only amplified the contradictions and deepened the mystery. The 7 years that followed Cindy Anderson's disappearance, from 1982 to 1989, were characterized by a chilling absence of answers. Unlike cases where a body is quickly found, providing a grim certainty, or where a clear suspect emerges, Cindy's vanishing offered no such closure. This lack of physical evidence became the defining feature of the mystery. No struggle, no blood, no definitive trace of her presence or her departure. It was as if she'd simply evaporated, a phrase often used to describe such baffling cases, aptly applied here. The office was undisturbed, yet a young woman had ceased to exist within its confines. This prolonged ambiguity had a profound and devastating impact on Cindy's family. For years, they lived in a torturous limbo, caught between hope and despair. Every passing day without news was another day they couldn't grieve, couldn't move forward. The community, too, felt the unsettling ripple effect of a case so devoid of explanation. It was a reminder of how vulnerable anyone could be, how the mundane could suddenly give way to the terrifyingly inexplicable. The missing white woman syndrome concept, while a more recent psychological observation, encapsulates the intense public and media focus that often accompanies such cases, driven by a primal need for resolution and understanding. Over these years, various theories, some more grounded than others, surfaced and faded. The initial notion of a voluntary runaway became increasingly implausible as time wore on, and no contact was made. Abduction remained a strong possibility, but without any leads, it was an abstract horror. Some speculated about a connection to organized crime or illicit activities, given the era's climate, but these were largely unsubstantiated. There were, as often happens in such cases, fringe details that emerged, tales of strange sightings or cryptic messages, but none ever led to a breakthrough. These theories, even when debunked, served to illustrate the human mind's desperate attempt to impose order on chaos, to find a narrative, no matter how improbable, that could explain the inexplicable. The psychological impact of such a prolonged, unexplainable disappearance on investigators and the public is immense. For detectives, it became a relentless, frustrating puzzle, a case that gnawed at their professional pride and personal sense of justice. The absence of a body meant no crime scene to process in the traditional sense, no clear path to follow. This ambiguous loss, as psychologists term it, is particularly difficult to process. Unlike a confirmed death, there is no ritual of mourning, no definitive end point. The human mind struggles with the absence of resolution, constantly seeking answers, replaying possibilities, and battling the gnawing uncertainty. For the public, such cases can foster a deep sense of unease, challenging their perceptions of safety and order, leaving an open wound in the collective consciousness. The 7-year window often refers to the legal presumption of death that can be made after a person has been missing for 7 years without a trace. While a legal declaration can provide some administrative closure for families, it rarely brings true emotional peace, as the fundamental question of "what happened?" remains unanswered. The calendar turning to 1989 held a somber significance for the case of Cindy Anderson. While a body had never been found, and no concrete leads had emerged, the passage of 7 years often triggers a legal process for declaring a missing person deceased. This legal declaration, while providing some administrative closure for families, rarely offers emotional solace. For Cindy's family, it meant the faint flicker of hope, which had stubbornly persisted despite the odds, was now officially dimmed by the law. There was no final push in the investigation in 1989 in the sense of new evidence or a breakthrough. Rather, it was the culmination of a long, agonizing period of waiting and uncertainty. The case remained, and largely remains, a cold case, a chilling testament to the enduring power of the unknown. The enduring questions in Cindy Anderson's disappearance echo through the years. Who did it? How did they manage to abduct a young woman from a locked office in broad daylight without a trace of struggle or forced entry? And perhaps most chillingly, why? Without answers, speculation takes root, feeding on the dearth of information. The "what if" scenarios are inescapable. Hypothetically, if the perpetrator was someone Cindy knew, someone she would willingly open the door to, it would explain the lack of forced entry. This could be a disgruntled client, a casual acquaintance, or someone who had gained her trust. Such a scenario, however, still doesn't explain the complete lack of a body or other evidence. Hypothetically, if it was a random act of opportunity, a truly professional abduction, the absence of evidence becomes a testament to meticulous planning and execution. But the why remains elusive for a random act of violence against a seemingly ordinary teenager. The baffling nature of Cindy's disappearance places it alongside other infamous, sealed room, or impossible disappearance cases, where individuals vanish from seemingly secure environments without logical explanation. While each case has its unique complexities, they share the common thread of defying conventional investigative methods. These cases challenge our understanding of security and vulnerability, leaving a lasting impression on the public consciousness. The nature of cold cases dictates a relentless erosion of evidence with the passage of time. Memories fade, witnesses move or pass away, and physical evidence, if it ever existed, deteriorates, or is lost. New forensic techniques might offer a glimmer of hope, but the sheer elapsed time since 1982 makes any significant breakthrough increasingly unlikely. Cindy Anderson's case stands as a stark reminder of the profound impact of unresolved mysteries, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions and a family forever haunted by the absence of their daughter. Cindy Anderson's disappearance isn't just a forgotten case, it's a testament to how profoundly a person can simply vanish. Even now, over 4 decades later, the core enigma remains as baffling as it was on that August morning in 1982. A young woman, seemingly ordinary in every way, walked into a locked office and was never seen again. No forced entry, no struggle, no body, no real leads, just an inexplicable absence that continues to haunt the quiet streets of North Highlands and the annals of unsolved mysteries. Her file remains open, a silent testament to a void that, even decades later, refuses to be filled. Cindy's case serves as a stark reminder of the human mind's innate need for answers, for closure, for a narrative that makes sense. When such a narrative is denied, the void persists, a silent legacy of those who are simply gone, leaving behind only questions and the enduring chill of the unknown.